Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, it's time for below grade level. It's time for the fright of your life.
Hello and welcome to Below Grade Level, the show where we take the books that we read as kids and read them as adults and ruin them. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Eaton. With me as always is Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
And Chris Zaleski.
Hello.
It's Tuesday. How are you?
Good.
I'm feeling fun and fancy free.
Oh shit, that's exciting. Guys, we have a guest tonight.
We do.
Our guest tonight is Bob Rose, first-time guest to the podcast. Bob, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to get you on here for a while because you are a fellow Baltimorean podcaster.
Yeah, I've been doing it for like over 10 years before podcasting was cool.
Oof, same.
Yeah, right.
I had a Facebook memory the other day of promoting my first podcast, and I was like, "Oh wow, 12 years. That's
a long
time.
It's a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember doing it before you had to describe what it was to people even our age. You know, like they didn't even what is it again? It's radio.
It's radio on the internet.
The questions that like boomers ask me now about what I do, my friends used to ask back then.
We talked a little bit about this before we started recording. We have now come into an era of podcasting where people are like, "Oh, are you on YouTube?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "It's audio. It's an audio format. Why would I be on YouTube?"
Mine's on YouTube. but
I mean,
I just render it. I just render it out.
YouTube with the still. People do that.
I do the
still
Bim Bam
thing.
does that.
I do the still
If it's
thing.
good enough for my Bim Bam, it's good enough for us.
All right, that's fair. Fair point.
Honestly, because I edit in Premiere, which I know is a sin, but
I love Premiere.
right.
That's
for
okay with
audio?
me.
Yeah,
I edit audio in Premiere.
Well,
I also edit audio in Premiere.
I'm a video editor, so it's easier for me to manipulate Premiere after I master it. So
it makes sense
I
for our
just
brains.
throw the JPEG in and just rendered the whole thing out and put it up on YouTube and then throw the file away.
Yeah,
So-
that sounds awesome. All right.
Smart.
You
Okay.
got more work to do, John.
I'll start doing. I got more work to do. Thanks, Bob.
You don't. I didn't say you had to. You don't have to do it.
I have a YouTube channel, I think, that I haven't done anything with in a really long time.
I actually looked it up
so-
today because I was going to see if you guys put it on YouTube, and
Oh, yeah.
so I looked at This
What was
Is
the last-
65.
Pigeon.
Oh God,
Yeah,
it's still
it has
called
like
This Is
4
65.
names, which is very confusing.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
I should probably just start a new one then.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll just start a below grade level one. Who cares?
Nothing like a confusing brand.
Yeah, you want that?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
want like 7, 8 names. No one knows what you're looking
Yeah.
at.
Hey, I'm nothing if not
Don't
consistent.
post anything for 9 years.
Yeah.
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 Well, we're excited to have you on the show. You are joining us on part 2 of us reading Christopher Pike's Master of Murder, which I love when I make the file names for this because the acronym is MOM.
Aw.
So we're on MOM part 2.
Part 2.
Mom.
Bekah, do you want to catch us up on what happened last
Very
time?
fitting for
Sure.
a Pike book.
Ooh, not yet.
So, Master of Murder, we read the first 2 chapters. Our protagonist is Marvin, who is a 17-year-old
I don't know why I found
high
that
school
funny.
student. Because it's not the name of a child.
Marvin
it's
of
not the name of
Murder.
a teen.
Master of Marvin.
Master of Marvin.
That's even better.
He is a teenage secret famous writer.
Yeah.
No one knows that he's a famous writer except his 11-year-old sister Anne. His pen name is Max Slate.
He's a millionaire.
He's a millionaire,
Yeah.
literal millionaire.
Max Slate. That is classic.
Max
awesome.
It's like a Steven
Slate.
Seagal character.
Yeah. He has a love interest named Shelly. His book series, I guess the main one he's working on now, is called The Mystery of Silver Lake, and he also has some weird lake.
Which I find
Connections.
hilarious because I don't think it's set in Silver Lake, which is a real place in California.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not.
Yeah.
But there is a lake near him that he goes to and communes with, and it's strange. I don't really remember what happened at that point.
Communes.
But like,
He really he did. I don't remember.
'cause he's
Yeah.
like, he can't just sit down and write, which sounds like an excuse of every writer I've ever known. He can't just sit there and write. He has to wait for the power to flow through him
Yeah.
before he can type anything on his little word processor. He's so famous. Every student in school knows who Max Slate is, but they don't know it's Marvin. But they all love his books. They're all super into it.
Yeah.
Shelly, the love interest, he's got a date with her tonight.
They were like in class and they were all like, what do you think the next book is going to be about?
Yeah,
like that
what do you think it's going to be about? What do you think Mac looks like?
I guess we did that with Harry Potter, but still.
Well, the books, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess he doesn't even use like a fake picture of himself as Mac. He's just unknown. His parents are fucked up, so his mom is an alcoholic. She doesn't really provide for him and his sister. His dad is just like pieced out. There's
I think abusive. I think he said his dad's abusive, which is a bummer.
Yeah, I think his dad was literally physically abusive.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 was really fun, and then chapter 2 got really fucking dark.
Yeah. It's the old Christopher Pike 1-2.
Yeah. And so, okay, Marvin and his little sister were going through some fan mail, and then he got a letter in his fan mail that said, I know who you are, which is bad because no one's supposed to know who he is. And the letter came from the town that he lives in.
Yes, local. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it and find out what happens next. I don't even remember what was the end of the last chapter.
To be clear, we don't know who the master of murder is, the mom. We don't know who that is yet, right? That's the mystery of the book.
I guess so.
I guess I've been assuming that it's Marvin. Because I was thinking, like, that sounds like a little tagline for, like, Max Slate, Master of Murder, if someone was writing an article about him, but no one's actually said that phrase.
But another thing, Bob, about Christopher Pike books is that his titles are baffling, and the stories go in directions that, like, no one could possibly see coming. The last book we read by him was called The Eternal Enemy, and it started out with about a girl buying what seemed to be a magic VCR that could record the future. But then it turned out by the end of the book that the eternal enemy, I think, was her because she was actually a robot from the future.
She's a robot from the future who went back into the past.
Dated her
and
grandpa.
Didn't know who she was, and then dated her grandfather while she was young, and then her old version of her grandfather came back and tried to kill everybody.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me.
The eternal enemy.
The eternal enemy. Nailed it.
Maybe this book goes into controlling a bunch of ducks. Like a murder of ducks. Isn't that a thing?
Murder of ducks.
The master of murder.
Crows.
Is it crows? Sorry, murder of crows.
Murder of crows.
It's got
I like murder of ducks way better.
I hope it's also murder of ducks.
Yeah.
And I'm going to adopt it. Chapter 3. Marvin didn't get to borrow. I don't remember what voices also we were doing for anybody, so we'll just figure it out.
I think we're doing generic.
Marvin didn't really have a voice.
Yeah.
Shelly didn't either. There's Miss Jackson. Triad basically sounded like Danny Zuko.
Right.
And then there was Mr. Ramar, who was just like a cool hot teacher.
And his sister Anne sounds like Bobby Hill. That's like the one I remember.
I did not write that down.
Classic tomboy voice.
We learned a long time ago not to do like a wacky voice for our main character because we did that for one of the Sweet Valley books, and we made the main character just for some reason.
You made Elizabeth sound like Batman.
We made her sound like Batman.
No fucking reason.
And then the entire book we had to be like Jessica.
You're gonna rip out your throat.
You get real tired of it.
It probably get annoying too, I assume.
Oh
yeah. It sure did.
What? Nuh-uh. Marvin didn't get to borrow his mother's car. It turned out it was broken. She had asked him to call and have it towed to the shop when he asked if he could borrow it. She had asked him to call and have it towed to the shop when he asked if he could borrow it. Sorry, it was
it's a really good sentence.
Two askings. He hoped Shelly was able to get a hold of a car or they'd have a cold night on the road.
We're going to walk to our date.
Oh, because he has a motorcycle?
Oh, yeah, he has
but
a motorcycle.
But she didn't want to go on it.
Oh, they're not walking.
Shelly.
And Triad wants to buy the motorcycle. I don't know if that's going to come back or not.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot.
There are, I want to say,
he should just get a sidecar for that thing.
20 threads hanging so far in this book.
Yeah, put Shelly in the sidecar.
Shelly's sidecar.
And then you could... that's what I was just going to say. You can dance and give me your name. Shelly answered the door when he knocked. She was dressed simply in blue corduroy jeans and a shiny yellow blouse.
Ew.
Nice.
What?
Okay.
That sounds like an Easter outfit.
She had her hair tied back in twin ponytails with bright yellow ribbons. He loved it because it reminded him of his little sister. Her smile lit him up, yet it was a casual smile. Shelly was usually in control of most situations.
Wait, what? That sentence is really out of nowhere.
Welcome to Christopher Pike.
Shelly liked deviled eggs. What? Okay.
Do we have a car? She asked. He looked downcast. Do we? He asked. This went on for 15 minutes. She gave an exaggerated sigh. I guess I should get my warmest jacket. Your parents won't let you borrow their car?
They're away for the weekend. She gestured for him to enter and turned in the direction of her bedroom. Do we know what we're doing?
Did it say that?
No. I'm laughing out the next sentence.
The next sentence is pretty great.
You got me.
We're going to have sex, eat dinner, have sex, go to the movies, and have sex. Italics. He's thinking to himself. Wishful thinking.
That old inner model.
Not come home from the movies, just at the movies have sex.
At the movies.
Yeah.
At the restaurant,
The
at the
dangers of
movies.
part
At
of
the
it.
restaurant.
In the alley, anywhere we can. I thought maybe we could go for dinner and a movie, Marvin suggested, watching her walk away. She had a cute butt, Shelly did.
What is he, a cowboy?
I can't with this book. Are we...
We just watched The Big Lebowski. So I'm just thinking of what's his fucking name? The guy with the
Sam
mustache.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah.
I'm just thinking of Sam Elliott
Stranger.
go like, she had a cute butt, Shelly did.
Well, I think we found a new voice for Marvin.
Okay, I'm on board with this.
That's his inner monologue.
His inner
He
monologue is
sounds-
Sam
He
Elliott.
sounds
Sam
like
Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Spoken, he just sounds like a
Sometimes there's a
17-year-old boy.
man.
Not a hero, but a man.
Nice. Are we staying in Sessa? She called from her room. He had been in there twice, a year ago. He had even lain on her bed and kissed her. The Quades had a huge house with a jacuzzi on the back porch. I thought maybe we'd go to Pella. These town names are fucking weird.
Oh, God.
He called back.
Pella was like a restaurant.
Pella was a neighboring town, about 20 miles distant, maybe 4 times larger than Sessa. There, the selection of movie theaters and restaurants was far better. When I thought we had a car, Shelly reappeared with a blue ski jacket. I knew you weren't going to get a car. That's why I tied my hair back.
She's all complementary colors.
Yeah.
She's just blue on
She's
yellow
just
on blue on yellow.
Blue, yellow, blue.
She's some
Yeah.
green.
I tried, honestly. She shook her head. You boys and your bikes. She slipped into her jacket. Like, I feel like it would just be like crunch, crunch, squeak, crunch. Pella's fine. I need the cold wind on my face. It brings out the color in my cheeks. I don't know why I can't handle this book tonight. I was so excited to read it, and now I feel like my brain is melted.
It broke you already.
Oh, also, Bob, like, bit of
First fucking
forewarning,
page.
you
Yeah.
will forget how to read.
That's fine. I already did. I mean, nobody talks like this. Like, you're always colorful. That's really odd.
The caveat, though, is that no one ever forgets how to read worse than I do.
That's true. You'll never be
always
worse
funny.
than Jonathan.
To me.
Okay.
Oh, did I say this line? You're always colorful, Marvin said. He meant it. She
Good to
smiled,
know.
her sweet Shelley smile, which was filled with all good things.
I love that Hall & Oates song.
Sweet
And you
Shelley
all-
smile.
I don't get it.
Was it Sarah Smile?
Yeah.
Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like them. And you always say the right thing, she replied. God, that was fucking difficult.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever
Sometime
seen-
later,
That was a struggle.
Meanwhile,
they ate at a restaurant called The Big Fish. Surprisingly, neither had seafood. Why is that surprising?
Cool, had big fish.
Called the big fish.
Shelley ordered turkey and rice, and
the fuck,
Marvin
Shelley?
had a
Turkey and rice. Why is that funny? Turkey and rice.
Who orders turkey anywhere?
the chef is also the
Have you
waiter.
ever been to a restaurant and ordered turkey?
Turkey burgers. I have. Turkey
Yes,
burgers.
turkey
but
burgers,
Never,
that is it.
never like turkey.
Turkey in rice.
The waitress
Like
walks up.
carved
Are
turkey.
we
No.
in Louisiana?
Yeah.
The waitress walks up. They're like, "What do you have?" They're like, "I don't know, turkey, rice." And Marvin
Wow.
had a chicken sandwich and fries. Their waitress was disappointed they wouldn't try the lobster. Good to know.
She wants a bigger tip.
Yeah.
That turkey probably doesn't cost very much.
Marvin turned it down because he had no taste for it, even though he was a millionaire. But Shelly confessed after ordering that she loved lobster, but hadn't wanted to break him. No ad-lib, that's as written. He told her to enjoy
She
herself.
has broken me.
Well, he's a secret millionaire, right? So.
Yeah.
He is a secret millionaire. She doesn't know.
He told her to enjoy herself. Money was no problem. Their food came and they ate hungrily. The cold wind had stimulated both their appetites. The conversation flowed easily. Marvin could be quite the talker when he wasn't trying to ask somebody out.
He did struggle through that part.
It took him an entire chapter.
Yeah. It was like 30 pages. Shelly told him about her plans to be a doctor one day. She wanted to specialize in plastic surgery. A curious specialty, he thought, for a pretty girl. Gross. But she said she dreamed of making everyone beautiful. She asked about his ambition.
That sounds like something a villain would dream of.
I wish to make the
That sounds like one of the
world
bad guys in
beautiful.
Bioshock that I just
That
killed.
literally is a bad guy in Bioshock.
She hates ugly people. She can't stand to look at them.
I will
have
carve
to
you
fix
into
you.
something
They're
pretty.
vomitous. They disgust me.
Jesus.
If God couldn't do it, I will.
She asked about his ambition to be a writer. He mumbled something about how hard it was to get published, but she was keen on the subject and really wanted him to pursue it. They went to a movie. It was boring, and because it was warm inside the theater, in contrast to the cold outside, Marvin dozed off.
Jesus fucking Christ, Marvin.
It
Bad
was
impression.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Sometimes Christopher Pike writes like poetry, and then sometimes it was boring, and because it was warm inside the theater, in contrast to the cold outside, which we
He's talking
addressed
about
earlier.
weather. It's all weather.
Marvin dozed off. It was embarrassing. When Shelly shook him awake, she told him he'd been snoring. His biggest night in a long time, and he fell asleep. Oh well, Shelly thought it was funny. Around 11 o'clock, they started back towards Sessa. Between the two towns stretched the Pella River, a narrow but deep and strong river that fed directly into Lake Sessa. The bridge that crossed the river was an antique collection of old rusted steel support beams with creaking boards laid crosswise for the floor.
Good to know.
I go now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
We go into the end of the sentence.
End of the sentence. Okay. 20 years earlier, it had been used as a train bridge. The river ran between two low ranges of grass-covered hills, one on the Pella side, the other on the Sessa. It was fun, particularly on a bike, to come flying over either of these hills and race down toward the bridge.
That
On many
sounds
occasions,
terrifying.
he really likes describing stuff.
Yes, he does.
And never anything important to the plot.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, I keep thinking, like, is this going to come back? Are we
Yeah.
gonna...
That's why I write so much, and it's.
Is there a setup payoff
Yeah,
going on?
Chekhov's River.
Almost
Someone's
never.
gonna die on that bridge. I hope.
Maybe the hills will mean something for murder.
The hills of
You
Sessa and
murder
Pella.
people and push them down the Pella side. It's called Pelicide. Never mind. Commit Pelicide.
Christ.
Anyway, on many occasions, Marvin had crossed the bridge, doing close to 100. That night, with Shelly.
On a bike?
Well, I assume it's a motorcycle, right? Didn't she say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was picturing a bicycle.
Oh, you were picturing. Oh,
like a
I thought
regular
you meant a
bike.
bike like a.
Christ.
No. I think it was a motorcycle.
Yeah,
It
okay.
is a
No, it is.
motorcycle.
I forgot.
Unless his legs are like
He
so
really gets
beefy.
going down that hill. It's a steep hill.
He's got to put his legs out to the side,
Yeah,
or else he'll
he's
just,
just
like,
like-
rip right off.
That night, with Shelly hugging his waist, he was doing better than 70 when she called out for him to stop. Why? He shouted over the roar of the wind. He had a scarf wrapped around his cheeks and eyeballs were ready to... He had a scarf wrapped around his face and had his glasses on. Nevertheless, his cheeks and eyeballs were ready to freeze. Being the cool dude that he was, he had volunteered his helmet to Shelly. I want to look at the river, she shouted. It's cold. I know it's cold. I still want to stop and look. God, this sounds terrible. Jesus. It's cold. What are you doing?
What a good date.
Going 70 miles. How look at the river?
Please slow down. He eased up on the throttle and let the bike slow down in the middle of the bridge. He pulled over to the side. Shelly jumped off the back before they could come to a complete stop.
Oh, got a badass.
Below them, they could hear the loud roar of the river. The wind was brisk. Martin scanned in both directions along the road. If a car approached, they would see its lights from far off. He killed the engine and climbed off the bike. Shelly had already removed her helmet and set it on the wooden floor of the bridge. "What are we doing?" he asked. He could hardly see her face in the black. She rubbed her gloved hands together and bounced on her toes. I guess because she's cold. Right? I mean, that's what I'm getting.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or excited. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love this spot, she said. I just wanted to see it. You should have waited for a moonlit night, Marvin glanced
So you've
at
seen
the
it before,
rusted
huh?
wheels. This is what we did
have to
stop.
We could have hit 120 if you didn't make us.
The narrator was
Marvin
just talking about how much I love breezing through this fucking bridge.
Marvin glanced at the rusted through rails. He knew how frail they were. If we're not careful, we could fall in. As if to challenge his last remark, Shelly stepped right up to the rail and leaned over and looked down. The water was 150 feet below. We'd float all the way to Lake Sessa, she said.
Jesus Christ.
Shelly is a death wish. Careful.
Hates ugly people.
Yeah. Careful, Marvin said. He reached out and grabbed the back of her jacket. She turned to the side and pulled him closer, yet she continued to stare down into the foaming water. Marvin figured there must have been rain farther upstream. The river was a regular torrent. He added, "You'd be dead by the time you got there."
Is regular torrent an oxymoron?
Now let's fuck. Yeah.
Is it? I don't think so. Right?
Well, I feel like torrent
Kind of
is
is.
big and regular is small.
Yeah. It's another one of the Sam Elliotisms. Be a regular torrent.
They're torrent. You'd be dead by the time you got there.
She looked over at him,
It's what's
Her-
for dinner.
ponytails flapping in the breeze. "You drown?" she asked. "You'd drown and you'd die from hyperthermia. Hypothermia. I don't know which would happen first." He caught himself before elaborating further. The topic of Harry's suicide had not come up all evening, and he didn't want it to.
Oh, right. That was the X.
Shelley continued to watch him. "Do you know a lot about stuff like that?" she asked.
Oh, she knows.
She definitely... She's the one who wrote the letter. He was something of an
Something of an expert myself. Oh, man.
He was something of an expert when it came to the different ways a person could die. Common among mystery writers. Don't calm down. It's a mystery writer. Agatha Christie also knew how to kill people.
Yeah.
It's just part of what they do. But he shrugged at her question. I know a few things, he said. She sat.
That was a perfect line, Reed.
Yeah, that was good.
Thank you. She sat down suddenly, sticking her legs in the spaces between the rusted rails so that her feet were dangling, making him more nervous. I love Shelley. She's fucking crazy.
She is.
She would definitely be the one to, like, stand by me. Like, I'll walk across this train tracks. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You can feel the spray of the river on your face, she said, pulling her gloves off her gloves and rubbing her cheeks. Closer to the water.
You can feel it as you drive by. Marvin reluctantly sat beside her. He could do without ice-cold spray on his face when he was already shivering.
He really is just like, I don't fucking know why we're here.
Yeah. Perhaps, though, Shelley read his mind. Who fucking talks like this, even in the narration?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perhaps, though, Shelley read his mind, for she leaned over and took his arm in hers and drew him to her side.
Do you think some of this is him just trying to fill pages? It has to be, right?
Yes.
It's gotta be.
We
word
make that
count.
comment a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A word count, yeah. R.L. Stine especially has a habit of like restating the same thing from different angles.
It was
R.L.
cold.
Stine books.
They weren't hot.
Nothing happens until the last 5 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had accidentally sat on a piece of rope and had to reach down to pull it aside. Interesting. I enjoyed the movie, she said. Did I? She laughed. Yeah, you looked like it brought you peace of mind. You know, most girls would have taken your falling asleep as a personal insult. But not this girl.
I'm not like most girls.
This girl is easy to please.
Oh.
Is that true? He asked, and was curious because Shelley had always struck him as someone who wouldn't settle for anything but the best in life. That was not to say she was a snob. Rather, she wanted the most she could get out of her short time on Earth.
Jesus.
You know how 17-year-olds talk.
You know how they talk and think?
Shelley folded her fingers around his. I only want love, she replied.
Gross.
And her voice was sad. She turned once more to look down into the water. It seemed to hold a hypnotic fascination for her. What about being a plastic surgeon? She smiled faintly at his question. To make the whole world beautiful, she muttered. She sat there silently for a few moments, with her head bowed, and then abruptly raised it. Her voice regained its earlier energy. What would you like to do now more than anything in the world? She asked, trying to become the world's first manic pixie dream girl.
Quick, make a sound no one else has ever made before.
Sit naked in your jacuzzi with you.
Oh, perfect line read.
Get warm.
He said. She stood. Let's go get in my jacuzzi. Would you like that? He got up.
Sure.
He said nonchalantly. Sometime later. God bless parents who went away for the weekend, Marvin thought as he re-entered Shelley's house. She was ahead of him, pulling off her coat, striding into the bedroom. Would you like some coffee? She called back.
Do you keep it in your chest of drawers?
Why is that a question? I'm not ad-libbing
What?
shit. It's
That
as it's
sounded like a
written.
euphemism.
Chest of drawers.
Oh my god.
And she had the proper response. What? She was down in her room.
Is that a reference to something from 1992 that we all forgot about?
I don't know.
I'll have some if you're having some.
He called.
What?
She reappeared. She was quick on her feet. I don't need it. Do you have a bathing suit?
Wait, what happened right there?
Nothing.
I'll have some if you're having some?
No idea.
They're having a meet cute that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
They've already met. They've already dated. They're dating
Yeah.
again.
Right.
She's walking into her room doing taking off her shirt. She's like, I want some
She's
coffee.
like, do you want coffee? No, okay, cool. Let's get
yeah,
naked
it's like,
now.
is it in there? No, it's not. Do you want some? No, I don't know. Do you have a bathing suit?
Let's go make some people soup in a hot tub.
Yes.
People soup.
Or people
where
tea.
was I? Yeah, people tea.
Yeah.
It's my
Just
new.
gotta steep in there. Get your privates in there and steep them.
My new zero environmental impact brand.
Yeah.
All right, she reappeared. She was quick on her feet. I don't need it. Do you have a bathing suit?
Yes, I do. I always keep one in a secret compartment in my motorcycle helmet.
Good. She paused, and there was amusement in her eyes. I don't have one that will fit you. He met her gaze.
I don't have one that will fit you.
What is
Oh,
happening? What is going on?
Where-
Terrible
Is that-
flirting.
Yeah, is that his
Is
is
this
that a
me
reference to
flirting?
his privates? Like
Chris flirting.
Does he have a bathing suit?
No, he's joking.
But none of it's clear.
it's not clear. Yeah, I'll be honest, I actually thought his helmet had a compartment in it.
Yes, me
That
too.
had a bathing suit.
It's got
stuff in
those
there.
saddlebags that are normally on the rear of the motorcycle, just on the side of his
the
helmet.
Rob Liefeld pouches on the side, right? Yeah.
Shelley smiled. So we're even. How? She blushed. I have 3 in my bedroom that fit me perfectly. Marvin felt bold. The entire night had given him confidence. How?
And a
She had made
boner.
it clear she liked him a lot.
You think?
But that's no fair. I have to sit naked in your jacuzzi while you get to hide behind 3 bathing suits.
That's a pretty good line. I'm not gonna lie.
That one's
She-
okay.
Wait, but
impressed me.
she wasn't saying that she's gonna put on 3 bathing suits. She's saying she has 3 choices, right?
Well, no, I think he's saying that she's
No,
gonna
what
wear
she
all
said
3 at
earlier.
once.
He's just being very, very clever.
Gotcha.
He is a writer.
He's being so clever that none of us know what the fuck he's talking about.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting flashbacks now. I was just going to wear one, she added. Besides, we don't have to go in the jacuzzi. Wink, wink. He acted indifferent. All right, let's not. She was insulted. You are so full of it, Mr. Summer. You are... in the next sentence.
Summer.
You are dying to sit naked in my
Last name
jacuzzi
Summer.
with... Is it me now? Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're dying to sit naked in my jacuzzi with me. Who said anything about being naked?
You, literally.
You did.
2 lines
You
ago.
said the word first. I'm just going to treat everyone like they're really mad. Well, I
They're
could keep...
full on shouting.
Yes.
I could keep my underwear on, he added, lying, except I don't think I'm wearing any. She raised a gorgeous Shelly eyebrow. Everything she does is a Shelly version of something. She took a giant Shelly
No one
dump.
can do it like Shelly can.
Her Shelly diarrhea sprayed all over the bathroom.
She was having a real bad Shelly period.
Yeah, right. She raised a gorgeous Shelly
This is
eyebrow.
one of the good ones, darling.
Except he wasn't really concentrating on her eyebrows. He was thinking of, well, he was thinking of many good things that only a few hours ago had seemed out of reach, but which now, miraculously, might be sitting next to him in a few warm,
I don't like that.
the warm minutes thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm wearing any either, she said.
What?
Then that settles that. She blushed again. I can't take off my clothes in front of you. I'm too shy. I'll look the other way. We'll put bubble bath in the jacuzzi.
What?
I'll gouge my eyes out.
Well, that escalated.
This is
I am the master of murder. I'll gouge my eyes out.
Marvin.
She giggled. I do have bubble bath. She paused. All right. His heart
I don't think
skipped
you're
so
supposed
hard.
to do that. When it
almost
gets you bubbly.
What?
When it gets you bubbly.
I don't think
double
you're
bubbles.
supposed to put
Double
bubble bath in a jacuzzi, though. I don't.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to empty it then, wouldn't you?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I don't know
Endless
anything about
bubbles.
jacuzzis.
I don't know. I've never been in this situation.
Yeah, nearby. She giggled. I do have bubble baths. She paused. All right. His heart skipped so hard it almost tripped, but it kept beating.
Hold
like-
on.
I like
Let's
the
take a
reassurance that
moment
he did not
because he
actually die
knew
right
he thought that line landed
Yeah.
so hard.
Yeah.
So let's
You don't need,
give
but
it
it
its
kept
due.
beating though. Like we know it's. We know what the
His
first
heart
wasn't.
skipped so hard it almost tripped.
Right. It's a metaphor. We know
That
that
was
was not
Christopher-
actually
Christopher
dying.
Pike typed that and then was just like, fucking nailed it.
Bob, I knew just what was written was going to make you laugh like that.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, I didn't even process the next sentence, Bob. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like
The next sentence is even more crazy.
it's
You were hung up on the first
I
one.
couldn't get past the
right.
first
Well,
one.
you would only need the first one because that we know he's not actually having heart problems.
Yeah.
Okay. But it kept beating. He made sure it did, which is even fucking weirder.
Hit himself in the chest.
Yeah, that's what he just doing. He's like, live!
Let me just get something out here. I just
Well, he has a,
can I
he
borrow
has a
your
def-
electric paddles really quick?
he has a defibrillator that he keeps in his helmet.
In his helmet on the other side.
He sticks
The
his
other
finger in
side.
an electrical
From
socket. I
the
just need a quick
bathing
zap. He wouldn't forgive himself if he died right now. Like what?
Oh my god.
What is this called? The metaphor is just bulldozed completely.
You're starting to get like the full Christopher Pike washing over you.
Right. He wouldn't forgive himself if he died right now. All right, he said. Marvin got in the jacuzzi while Shelly ran to the bathroom. The water was very hot, and he wondered if the Quades always kept it at such a high temperature during the winter. Their gas bill must be atrocious.
Who cares?
What is that?
I don't think the jacuzzi is powered by gas. I think it's powered by electricity. I don't think it's a gas-heated fucking
It's the most
jacuzzi.
boring thing for a
But not-
17-year-old
It's
to
not a
think.
cauldron.
But not only that, it's like, why is that in the book? Why is he wondering about their gas bill?
He's like,
And now
I'm
you're in the
about to get
show.
laid. Hang on, why is this so hot?
Shelly reappeared, and he quickly crossed his legs. Although he doubted
Does that hide your dick?
Is he naked?
It's called tucking.
I think he is naked because he doesn't have the helmet suit.
He said he had
Right.
underwear, so I was
Oh, he's probably
praying
wearing
that
underwear?
he kept it on.
The two of them went back and forth so fucking fast over like
Nothing.
wearing nothing or bathing suits or underwear. I don't know where they landed.
So far, this entire chapter could have been 2 paragraphs. Like, it really could have been. We could be so far along right now.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's
Where was
good.
I? Oh. Shelly reappeared and he quickly crossed his legs, although he doubted she could see much. He had already turned on the jets. She was fully clothed. Sorry.
the fuck,
yeah.
Shelly?
Oh, Shelly. She had
She's
a
shy,
Polaroid.
man. He's over here having like a heart attack, worrying about the gas bill. Would you take your clothes off for that?
Oh my
I
god.
just like the whole. I don't like jacuzzis. They're too hot.
Oh my
Right.
god. I started fucking reading ahead.
Don't.
She had a
It's a trap.
carton of bubble bath in her hand. She read the label. How does lavender heaven sound? She asked. A little fruity.
Oh, by the way, he's homophobic.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know that neither of us is gay.
Is that a line of the
Oh
book?
my
Yes!
god!
I didn't add that.
What the fuck?
I didn't add that.
Oh, the '90s. What a
Wait,
time.
she said that?
She said that.
Shelly! I
Shelly's
was
like-
rooting for you.
Shelly's like, no homo.
So they
No
were both.
homo. You're flirting like fucking awkward straight people. That was never in question.
Yeah.
She was legitimately commenting on the fact that they would be worried that the lavender heaven would turn them gay.
I don't know. Like, they're both.
It's too gay to fuck while you smell lavender.
I feel like they're both panic flirting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're both like,
It's painful.
I'm
Yeah,
not gay.
it's really-
Are you gay? Let's prove we're not gay.
we're not gay. I'm so
Not that the
I'm-
lavender heaven
That's
is how
gotta
we
be a
have to
line in
have
like
sex.
2 sentences.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah,
way to
probably.
prove we're not
Yeah.
gay is to kiss each other and see how we feel afterwards.
She opened the top and poured the whole thing in the tub. Shelly, that's too much.
So I have a
Oh my God.
logistical question.
Yes.
A jacuzzi's like in your house, right?
No, it's
No,
not
they
hot
said it was
tub's
like on the deck.
Okay, but what's the difference between a hot tub and a jacuzzi?
Nothing. They're the same thing.
the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, why do you sound like you're a fucking expert?
I
You're
know a lot
answering
about
so
jacuzzis.
fast.
No, I could because I don't know.
He's been in a
Okay.
few.
I'm not.
I thought a jacuzzi was like when you have that fancy tub in your bathroom
Oh.
inside the house, and a hot tub's like the outdoor version.
I think those are just
Bar of the
called
boat.
like jacuzzi tubs.
I think hot tub is like the layman's term for a jacuzzi.
Oh, is
You can-
jacuzzi like a?
You can have a
brand name?
jacuzzi in your house. The location
Kleenex.
doesn't define it.
Bar
You
of
can
the
have a
boat.
Okay.
location. You can have a jacuzzi anywhere, but they're on the deck. And usually
Yeah.
with an
Okay.
outdoor jacuzzi, you don't take actual baths with soap.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that's
feel
not
like
what you
bubble
do.
bath would be like putting, regular soap in a dishwasher, and then you just have suds
That's
everywhere.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
100% is what's gonna happen.
Like
Right.
an
Well, I
outdoor
would just-
jacuzzi is for like your body needs to relax.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah, 'cause
I
this
was
is-
just wondering if they were going to ruin the inside of her house or the
Yeah.
outside of her
They're gonna
house.
ruin the
Right,
deck.
yeah.
Okay, they're going to ruin the deck.
Because
all right.
the other thing I'm thinking is, okay, so like jacuzzi tub in your bathroom, you can put bubble bath in that fucking whatever because it's a tub.
Maybe
got-
a
it's got
little
a-
bit,
it's
but
got a
not a whole,
traditional-
not a whole
bottle.
fucking bottle.
It doesn't
You would
take
put a
much.
whole bottle in just a regular tub.
If
You
I,
would-
I don't know everything here, but that has a drain. The indoor
Yeah.
one has a drain.
Yes.
You could
Yeah.
I don't
like,
think the
open it
outdoor
and
one has a
try to-
normal drain, right?
Well, and I think the
Oh,
outdoor
yeah,
one is
no.
kind of like a pool, isn't it? Because doesn't it like have a little recirculating?
yeah, it has a
thing?
recirculator.
I
so
never
you can't,
thought about it, but
I don't think
it
you can
must.
put bubble bath in there.
Oh no, it's gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, you go to any water
Christopher
fountain.
Pike did not consider all these things.
Or he did, and this is gonna get really funny.
Yeah, maybe that's the twist.
You
is
go
that-
to any water fountain, you put in the smallest amount of
Yeah, and it
bubble bath, and
recirculates it.
it just
Oh, yeah.
it becomes madness
Ew.
very quickly.
that happened
Really?
in White Marsh one time on
Yeah.
the avenue.
I was
Someone
going
bunch
to
of
say, I
times.
remember
In
that.
like a
yeah.
drinking
Yeah.
fountain? Oh, wait.
the
Oh, you
fountain
mean a
outside
drinking
the
fountain or
movie
like
theater.
a.
the big fountain. Yeah,
Okay.
the one outside the movie theater. I
Yeah.
went to work one day to Starbucks, and it was completely full.
Oh, that's
It was
cute.
like 12 feet tall of like suds.
That's
'Cause
so
someone's like-
magical.
It was.
Maybe he murders her by bubbles.
Yeah,
Or
he
something.
just
Yeah.
drowns her
Bubbles.
under the bubbles.
Yeah,
And then masturbates, and then he becomes the master of murder.
the master. Yeah,
The masturbator of murder.
Yeah.
Okay, so she opens the top, pours the whole thing in. Shelly! He reacted like we did. She laughed. We'll have bubbles up to the ceiling. But you're outside.
That's my question.
This girl's on drugs.
She tossed the carton aside and began to undo her belt. Gouge out your eyes, Marvin. I'm going to take off my clothes.
God, so much gouging of eyes.
Wow, that's so hot.
Can't I just cover them with my hands? So you can peek between your fingers? Yeah, that would be all right. She threw a sponge at him when he flashed a wide open eyeball between his fingers. You are not going to see me naked on our first date. Really? Because
Doesn't
you
she-
Wait,
guys
why is
have...
there a sponge?
Next line. And also, why is there a sponge?
What?
Why does it? I thought she was
He's
inside
sponge
putting on a
working.
bathing suit, not getting a metric ton of bubble bath.
I don't know what's happening.
Must have got that bubble bath
But,
at
okay.
BJ's Wholesale Club.
But the sponge being there, I assume she doesn't mean a sexual device.
Oh, like the
But-
Seinfeld sponge?
Yeah, like sponge worthy. But like, are these two actually trying to cleanse themselves in a
God,
hot
I
tub?
fucking hope not.
Is that
I'm
what's
so.
happening?
I do not know what. I don't know why there would be a
I
sponge.
need more whiskey.
Oh my god.
It's still
You're not
the
going to see
same
me naked on our
chapter.
first. Yeah.
We're like
takes
5
us-
pages into this
It
chapter.
You're not
takes
gonna
us
see-
so long
it's
to
gonna
read a
take
Christopher Pike
forever.
book.
You're not going to see me naked on our first date. This is our 6th date, he protested.
Like
That
18
quieted her,
episodes.
the bitch. Turn your head away. Marvin obeyed. He couldn't believe what a good little boy he was being.
Yuck!
He waited until she told him he could look. By then, she was in the water, well hidden behind a mountain of pink bubbles. It's hot, she said. It sure is.
I wanna die.
Marvin marveled. Marvin marveled.
Marvel.
Marvin marveled. She reddened. You better not tell anyone at school that we did this.
She read it.
No one
'Cause
would
it's so
believe
hot.
me, Shelley.
It's too hot. She's dying.
He reached out with his toe, and he brushed the side of her invisible calf, which made her jump slightly. What I want to know is, how did he know what part of her body he was going to be touching with his toe?
He did,
I
and
mean,
he just went
if you're
for it.
seated,
He-
like I can
he
touch your
reached the
calf right
calf.
now. I'm touching it right now.
Yeah, but
It's-
they're
it's
naked
called-
in a
it's-
hot tub.
Yeah,
It's
but your
called
legs are still where
initiative.
your legs are.
Well, how about this? He was aiming
If we
for
were
something
naked,
else.
I'd still be touching your calf right now.
Max
Becca has
Slade,
been kicking my calf this whole time.
Max Slade is a man of action.
Yeah.
A man of action.
He could see her face, her neck, a little more than her neck. He could see her face,
Okay.
her neck, a little more than her neck.
Okay. Okay.
I love that song.
What's the published audience for this?
Like,
I mean, we're reading about kids fucking. What is happening?
yes, they're
Horny
like,
teens.
these are teen books. I read these books. Not this one. I read Christopher Pike books though when I was like 12.
Are you supposed to write about kids having sex for kids?
I don't think so, because
I don't
we've
think
read
you're
other
supposed to
teen
do
books
this.
and they are nowhere near as
Hey,
fucking crazy as
Okay.
this shit.
All right.
Let's be honest here. It was the
I don't know
early
what
90s.
the rules are with this. I you know what I mean?
It
It
was the
feels like
early
a crime.
90s.
It really does.
Feels like a crime.
It was the early 90s. The parents just were not paying attention.
And they're
Yeah.
all latchkey kids fucking in their backyard.
Well,
apparently,
and like,
reading
let's
books.
be honest. It's early '90s. We were reading these while our parents were like watching Basic Instinct. It was a decade
was
of
not
erotic
reading
thrillers.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
our parents were really into like sex thrillers.
That's true.
Ew.
I was into sex stores in the 90s when I was a kid. So I mean, I would have. I used to watch Skid and Max, whatever.
Oh yeah, anything to see a boob.
I can't believe I
But that
don't
wasn't
have
made
more
for
whiskey
me.
to have to read the sentence I have to read.
Skid and Max wasn't made for my age group intentionally, though. That's the more of the. This is being made.
That was the
for-
beauty of it.
Yeah.
You just had it anyway.
Yeah.
But he could not see her breasts.
Ah,
So what do couples talk about in a hot tub, he asked. She picked up a handful of suds and rubbed it along the side of her cheek. Steam wafted through her
And she's
long
like, "I'm
brown
Santa."
curls. but it was hard for him to imagine a more beautiful picture. Are we a couple, Marvin? She asked. I didn't mean to be presumptuous. You're not. To answer your question, I don't know. Terrible, terrible banter, he added against his better judgment. Maybe I should ask Triad.
Hell yeah.
From now on, anytime his name is said, we're saying hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know what this hot tub needs? A third wheel, and his name is fucking Triad.
He's perfect for it.
Hell yeah.
She chewed on that one a moment, watching him. He's just a friend. And no, I've never sat naked in a jacuzzi with him. I wasn't going to ask that. But you were wondering, true? He shrugged. You're perceptive. She continued to watch him, but not as perceptive as you. She added, as if expanding on the same idea. That was a great story this morning. Jackson should have given you an A. What did you like about it, besides its grossness? It was funny. You're funny. That's why I think you'll make a great writer. She played with the bubbles. They were going down slowly. Did you want to ask me anything else about Triad?
Hell yeah.
They're both manic pixie dream girls.
Are both the most awkward people I've ever seen. Not really. I don't want to spoil the moment. She smiled. I thought you'd forgotten about me. Because I took so long to ask you out again?
Borrow again.
Borrow again, quick.
I'm trying.
Is the next
my
page
God.
not loaded? Oh.
We have to borrow the book, and that's only good for an hour. Which is really sobering when it happens.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's just also crazy to think you're like renting a book an hour at a time.
Yeah.
It's also funny because reading this, I'm like, if this were about kids right now, they'd all be like poly, and they wouldn't even care about who they dated.
Yeah, they'd be like,
God,
yes,
yeah.
let's ask Triad.
Yeah, do you want to? Yeah, should we get Triad over here right now?
Let's all just fuck each other.
Let's just, we'll both make out with them. It doesn't matter.
We're all pansexual, poly. Come on, stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. Let's do it.
Okay, I'm trying to read ahead so I can get more whiskey, and it looks like all the same shit that we already just fucking went through. So.
Yes, she said. It's hard to forget someone when you shit behind them every day and look at them.
When you ship. Oh, sit.
Sam Elliott. Or should I say Sham Elliott?
Sham Elliott.
She was interested. Do you look at me that much? Only when I'm bored. She splashed him.
Damn it.
You're never sweet without being mean at the same time.
It's called negging.
Yeah. He reached out and grabbed her hands. They were slippery, soft, as if they were in a hot tub. He hadn't held them in a long time.
They were really hot. He was like,
School is always boring.
School is always boring, he said. She was touched. Well, yeah, because you're touching her fucking head.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So you watch me all the time?
Oh my God.
He slid around the edge of the jacuzzi seat, still holding her hands. That must have been very awkward. I'd love to see that scene filmed.
Oh, wait.
Hold on. Wait, almost there.
Yeah.
And now we're here.
And good.
No, I'm just thinking, like, if, even through the sound of the jacuzzi, you'd hear, like of his bare
All the
ass
squeaks.
sliding. Yeah.
He could feel her bare thigh against his. Her
Jesus.
hip. I'm never bored when I watch you, he said. He let go of one of her hands and touched her left shoulder.
Jesus.
Can I kiss you? She touched his shoulder, the far one, and the bubbles were becoming less an obstacle all the time.
Oh my God.
You don't have to ask me twice. She brushed his lips with her fingertips, which is how kissing works. You asked me the same thing last November. He kissed her, and she kissed him, and their arms went around each other, and he felt he was sinking into an ocean of joy.
I'm so glad Chris got this page, because I know nothing.
Yeah.
I know, like, none of us are more uncomfortable about this than he is right now.
An ocean of joy rather than a mere hot tub. See, they called it a hot tub, even though they already said it was a jacuzzi. They're
Yes.
the same thing, Bekah. God, so
They could
dumb.
both be time machines.
Me? Fuck you, Chris. Read more about this sexy stuff.
Read
Read
more
more
about
about
these
kids
children
having
fucking.
sex.
I mean, I heard thighs touching, and I was like, I need a moment. He caressed her.
Feels like I'm in a hot tub.
Hold on, this is great. He caressed her. He wasn't sure where. And she moaned with pleasure.
Grabs a handful of something.
What's this?
Is
my
this the
side.
G-spot? Or maybe
What's this?
he
That's my
hold
knee.
on. Or maybe he moaned. It was
What?
a big world, he knew, a bigger universe, but in that moment there was only her, nothing else, and yet he had never felt so full. He forgot
Stunned.
his fears and his jokes, which with him were two sides of the same... I want to assume same coin. You have to scroll down.
I did scroll.
Same coin. There
I
we go.
feel like
it finally
she's
caught
the
up on
one
my
who
screen.
has never felt more full, but it's...
Or he had a hot tub jet aimed right at his sphincter.
As he kissed her, his mind went empty, as it did when he raced at high speed on his bike.
Okay.
That's why he gets on the bike all the time, because it gives
Yeah.
him like sexual pleasure.
Because he's
He's getting hard
It's the,
from the
it's the
vibration.
only
That's
way
why
he
he
can
won't
come.
sell it to Triad.
Yeah.
Makes my no-no bits feel weird.
I like the vibrations.
But then she tried to pull away, and it took him a few seconds to register that fact. He let go of her with a twinge of embarrassment. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. She was staring at him with what happened to be confusion. But then she lowered her eyes and smiled again. Yet this smile, too, like the one on the bridge, was somehow sad. "You don't have to be sorry," she said. "I wanted to kiss you, too." He started to hold her again, but hesitated. God, this is so monotonous.
I wasn't paying
it's so
attention. Did he
fucking
like premature ejaculate in the hot
No,
tub? Or?
they didn't get
No,
to
he
the-
was just like
They didn't get to
holding her
orgasms yet.
face on his.
I think she just like went like gray rock. She just like stopped
Yeah.
kissing, and he just kept kissing her, and then was like, "Oh God."
what am I doing? Oh shit! How long was that happening?
Yeah. She's just like fucking staring into the middle distance.
Oh god!
She had been shaken to the core, and yet
Nice.
he didn't believe it was his kiss that had done it. It struck him then how little he knew her.
Oh, he grew up a little
Are
bit.
these kids? Like, that, they wouldn't be thinking that.
They're
They'd be thinking
17.
boobs and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, they
he
wouldn't
should
be
just be
thinking
thinking like a boner, boobs,
Yeah.
boobs are here.
Right. "What else do you mean?" he asked. She looked around and frowned. "We should get out of here. The bubbles are dying." She went to stand, and he grabbed her arm. "Do you want me to turn around?" he asked. She thought a moment. "You don't have to." He watched her get out of the hot tub. She had a
Yeah, he
wonderful
did.
bottom.
Shit,
Beautiful
a wonderful
breasts.
bottom.
Wonderful bottom.
And beautiful breasts.
Cool.
You know, she was banging, man.
Cool,
Let's gotta
yeah.
tell Triad this.
She's a
Hell
hot
yeah.
17-year-old.
Yet he didn't enjoy the sight of her naked body.
Well, because she's fucking
Because she's
I'm
nothing
sorry.
like his sister.
having a panic attack.
Oh man, why is that
She
so,
doesn't
so
want you
funny?
looking at her, and you have no self-awareness.
I'd be so funny if he was like, "I wish she had plastic surgery."
I'm kind of hoping the reason she had reservations is because like they were in a hot tub.
Yeah.
But her ex died in a lake. And she's
Hot tub
just
is a
like,
little
I don't know.
lake.
There's water here. I can't think
They were
about it.
already on the bridge, and she was like, "I love it here."
Yeah.
She had a wonderful bottom, beautiful breasts. Yet he didn't enjoy the sight of her naked body as much as he would have imagined. There was something on her mind that was for sure, and it wasn't just him. What? There was something on her mind that was for sure, and it wasn't just him. Okay, I read that.
No, it's not your fault.
It was a weird
It's
structure.
inscrutable.
A few minutes later, they were both dressed, and he was on the verge of leaving when she grabbed him once more and kissed him hard. But there was a desperation to the way she held on to him. And when she let go and spoke, he understood a big part of what was happening. Harry didn't commit
boy.
suicide, she whispered into his
fuck.
chest, her wet hair hanging over her face.
Twist.
Okay.
He gripped her shoulders and held her at arm's length. "What the fuck are you talking about?" he asked. A tear ran over her cheek, and as she looked at him, he was murdered. He was shocked, and he was Max Slate. That I did. I did
What?
ad lib that. He was shocked. Guys, he was shocked. And guys, he was Max Slate.
Wow.
Wow.
The master of murder.
You can't shock Max Slate.
Why would a famous mystery writer be surprised to learn what he wrote about really happened? What?
Like
Maybe-
murder.
Oh, okay.
Like
Just in
murder.
general.
Just
Just
in
general
general.
in general.
murder.
General murder.
Wait, has he
Okay.
written
Although I
about
do-
drowning?
I mean, I think that
Yeah.
I think he's like teenage Alan Wake. I think he wrote this all
Yes.
into existence, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what the whole thing's
Oh,
going to be.
I hope
but-
so.
Oh, I get it. Look at the next sentence. He's saying like the kids haven't considered the fact that murder's real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Basically.
maybe. Okay. Why would a famous mystery writer be surprised to learn what he wrote about really happened? Maybe because he didn't believe in the reality of his work. They were just made up stories. Or maybe because he believed Shelley was simply emotionally distraught.
Like a woman.
She's hysterical.
She's hysterical. Yet it was funny how he thought of Anne McGaffert, how the thought of Anne McGaffert crossed his mind right then. Anne McGaffert is the main character in his books, who's dead, who was raped and murdered.
And named after his 11-year-old
Named after
sister,
his
raped and murdered.
Raped and murdered.
Nice.
Cool.
For
As you do.
you know, for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an honor for her.
What an honor! Who killed him? Marvin asked. Shelley's eyes were big, glassy. I don't know. Then how do you know he was murdered? Another tear came and fell onto the floor. He wouldn't have killed himself. I know. She grabbed his hand and pressed it to her chest. Where her
Nice.
boobs are. You're pointing to your boobies. I know it in my heart. He couldn't help it, but her revelation, he didn't know how else to think of it, hurt his feelings. He'd never had a faster boner killer in his life. He didn't believe she'd have shed a tear for him after a year's time. Big leap to make. So he's like jealous now of a dead guy.
Yes.
I mean, when you're naked with someone else and they bring up their dead ex, it is.
Yeah, it's
It's
maybe
kinda
not the best timing.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, it's
to
a
be fair.
buzzkill, but it's not like I'm jealous.
You wouldn't be like, you wouldn't cry for me if I was your dead ex.
Yeah, not unless
Yeah.
you're a dick.
Oh, so if I died, you wouldn't tell someone?
Why are you telling me this? He asked. Because I want you to help me find his murderer, she said. Why me?
Weren't we just like about to fucking hot dog?
I honestly,
But now I have a side quest for you.
guys, this is
Oh, we're gonna fuck, but first, find his murder.
You need to raise your approval level with me by completing
Right.
my mission before we fuck.
yeah. You can't unlock the flirting options yet.
Yeah.
The dialogue options.
You failed all those checks earlier.
This is
clearly.
right. This is chapter 3.
How many chapters are there?
I don't know, but
Too
like.
many.
I want
like a quarter of
something
the way through the
new
book,
and
maybe.
insane to happen every fucking chapter.
We're on
Well,
page 60
I
of
think you're
198.
gonna get it.
Okay. Why me? Because you care, she hugged him. You made me feel you care. Will you help me? Marvin rested his chin on the top of her head.
Classic move.
He had dreamed of holding her. This is a tiny bit, so I'm just going to do the end. He had dreamed of holding her, and now he realized that she had been dreaming of holding a dead guy.
Well, no, that is not what happened.
That's not what she said,
That is
man.
not what she said.
That's not what she said. But since Harry wasn't there to answer her, he supposed he must. I'll help you, he promised, and I want to believe
I'm
he
the
said it
master
just
of
like
murder. I'll solve his
that.
case.
Holy shit.
Jesus.
Fuck. We are there's no way we're getting through more than like 2 chapters per episode of this book.
No.
Pike books always take longer because that's just it. All the other shit we read, we ad-lib a bunch, we add a bunch of shit to it. There's no need to. It's already ridiculous.
This is just deciphering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a constant processing what just happened.
The first Christopher Pike book we read, half of it was about like a hard-boiled alcoholic detective whose daughter was missing.
Oh, but those chapters were great.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it takes these turns where you're like, what?
My guess is that he's not actually like a passionate writer at all. This seems like a job. You know, from Christopher Pike's point of view, I feel like the guy doesn't even want to do this.
But he's like kind of nailing it.
Yeah, I feel like he's the only writer we read that's actually kind of good at it.
Yeah.
It makes me want to read more somehow.
Okay,
I was excited earlier today thinking about it, and then we started reading it, and I want to die inside. But it's better than Animorphs.
But yeah, that's what I was just going to say. If I had to choose between Christopher...
Better than Animorphs.
Most things are better than Animorphs.
The bar is really low.
Yeah.
Bob, I highly recommend listening to our Animorphs episodes.
Yeah.
I want to hear our brains
horror.
melt.
That's for real Cronenbergian horror. Like, you say, like, this is... too advanced for the age bracket. Animorphs are for younger kids than this, and it is full of like really
body horror,
gnarly,
right?
gnarly body horror shit.
It's less sex, but it's way more body horror.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was an elephant, and my tusks slurped back into my face as I turned back into a human.
Horrific shit.
Yeah, it truly is scarring.
All right, chapter 4.
With a lot of good world building.
The next day was Saturday. Wait.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was in first person for some reason. My brain broke. I don't know why.
Oh.
Because it feels like you're hearing all his thoughts, I guess.
But yeah,
so it doesn't really make a lot of
omniscient, I
sense
guess,
to be
but
third person, but whatever.
Yeah.
The next day was Saturday. Marvin woke early and stared at the ceiling for a couple of hours. He was both excited and depressed by his date with Shelly.
Remember before the internet?
You just stared at the ceiling, doing nothing. She liked him more than he had imagined, but she was also more obsessed with Harry than he knew. She had offered no evidence to substantiate her claim that Harry had been murdered, saying that they would talk about it today at noon. Marvin doubted she'd have anything significant to add to the case. For an author of mysteries,
Case?
Marvin was remarkably cynical when it came to believing in hidden plots and secret agendas. He was worried, not about Harry, but about his book. It was the type of anxiety that continued to grow even when he wasn't thinking about it. The deadline would suddenly flash in his mind, and he would feel a little more sick to his stomach than he had the previous time he remembered what he had to get done.
That was a very long sentence.
Welcome to being an adult.
Yeah.
But how could he start? He still hadn't a clue in which direction to go. He considered calling his editor and telling her he was stuck. But then she'd know he had been lying all along, and his career would suffer a serious setback, just as it was beginning. Marvin finally crawled out of bed and got dressed. He had 3 hours to kill till noon. He decided he might as well go to the post office to see if he had any more mail. He was procrastinating, and he knew it. But such was the daily life of a writer.
Christ, this is so boring. Like, those last 2 paragraphs are fucking nothing.
All right, we're on chapter 4. He's been to the post office twice. How many more times do you think he's going to go to the post office in this book?
Dude, I was like, is he going to fill his gas tank too? Hell.
Oh, God.
He was outside, climbing on his bike, when Anne came riding up on hers. Which, like, he says climbing on his bike, which is a motorcycle, when Anne came riding up on hers, which is a bicycle.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
Yeah.
Pike. Bike rhymes with Pike. You should know this shit. She wanted to go with him. I don't want you to ride on the back, he said. Go slow, we won't crash, she said. No, I'll go slow. I forgot he's Sam Elliott. No.
I thought it was only Sam Elliott in his italics.
Chris has been doing it.
Whatever.
He's doing it, yeah.
No, I'll go slow so
He's
that
too
you can
good at the
ride
voice.
beside me on your
true.
bike. He had always been paranoid about Anne riding on the back of his motorcycle.
Wait, so he's just going to ride his
so.
bike and be like...
Yeah, like,
Just
you don't
idling.
have to go 120 across a rickety bridge down a hill.
Okay, so
You do if you want to feel alive.
I'm gonna reread this sentence. 'cause
Yes.
it makes no sense.
Sure.
He had always been paranoid about Anne riding on the back of his motorcycle, unnaturally so. Like, no, naturally so. Motorcycles are death traps.
Yeah,
seriously,
That's your
yeah.
little sister.
Especially
don't put
2
an
people
11-year-old
on a
on.
motorcycle. It's 2 centers of gravity. It's very dangerous.
He wasn't sure as to the source of it, other than that he knew how bad a wipeout could be on a motorcycle. So not unnatural at all, Christopher
Yes,
Pike.
a very natural
reasonable.
fear.
Yeah.
Anne relented and they drove to the post office. Along the way, she asked him how his date with Shelly had gone, but he could tell she was still unhappy about the relationship, and he didn't say much. Oh, because they love each other.
I forgot that Anne
in like a
was
flowers in the attic sort of way.
anti-Shelley. Oh, God.
But also, like, it was great. We got naked and got in the hot tub.
Yeah, and then she cried about her.
And she cried
dead
about her dead boyfriend. And I got really mad about it.
Yeah.
And I watched her get out of the hot tub and she was naked. It didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
He had only one letter in his mailbox. It was a fan letter addressed to Max Slate, which is who the mailbox is for. So that totally
that's
makes
not
sense.
surprising.
Oh my God.
Just up in that word count.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
This one had not been forwarded to him from his publisher. Ooh. Someone had stuffed it into the mailbox. He tore it open.
As before, the message was short, typed on a single white page in capital letters. She doesn't love you the way you think she does. What the hell? He whispered.
This book's amazing.
Yeah. What the hell? He whispered. Anne pulled the letter from his hand and read it. Who's she? Anne asked. The letter must be referring to Shelley. Anne wrinkled her nose. You love Shelley? Marvin cleared his throat. The letter is not talking about my love for Shelley or my lack of love. It's talking about hers. Do you
Oh my God.
that was a brain buster. Do you think she loves you? Anne asked. Marvin forced a chuckle. Why are they talking about if they might love each other when he just got this like scary fucking
There are bigger fish to fry.
yeah,
Anne.
like why don't we worry about
God.
who sent me this like threat?
Like psycho mail.
Yeah. Do you think she loves you? Anne asked. Marvin forced a chuckle. No, we hardly know each other. Yet the message had hit him hard in the gut. Now he was not so much asking himself who was sending the letters as he was wondering whether the person was right.
Wrong priority.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
First
no,
one's better.
you should worry about the other thing, dude. Come on. What's wrong? Anne asked. What do you mean what's wrong? Someone knows who I am. You said that it wasn't the end of the world if someone did. Yeah, he said, but now they're getting personal. But you just said you hardly know Shelley. I didn't say that, he said.
Jesus
Yes, you did.
Christ.
Marvin knelt beside his sister. Why don't you like Shelley?
Oh my God. She looked at the ground. I told you why. Because she dumped me before? That's one reason. What's another? Anne looked him straight in the eye. I just don't like her. Why not? I just don't. Marvin took the letter back and checked the postmark. It had been mailed the day before. I thought it had been stuffed in there. But whatever.
I thought so too.
It had been mailed the day before. There's a sequence to these letters, he said.
What?
Oh, jeez.
I had to receive the other one first for this one to make sense to me. The person who sent it knows that.
That is
That's how
a
time
stretch.
works. Yeah. What does that mean? Anne asked.
This one doesn't make sense fucking regardless.
Oh my God. It means we're being watched. Yesterday when we picked up the mail, because I could have got my fan mail today, or Monday for that matter, yet the person who's sending these letters knew I already had that first one. Only then did he or she put this one in my box.
Gross.
Son of a bitch. He paused and scanned the area. They were alone in their corner of the post office. Yet the building had many windows, and someone down the street could have been observing them this very instant if he had a pair of binoculars.
Binoculars.
Yeah, what Bob said.
Anne looked at him. Anne.
Are you all right?
Anne looked around with him, worried. What are we going to do? She asked. There's nothing we can do. If this person wants something from us, he'll make it clear soon. Until then, we'll wait. Are you scared? Anne asked. No. He picked her up. He picked her up as he stood back up and gave her a hug. Kissed her. He's like,
No,
Gross.
there's nothing to be scared
He
of.
then deeply tongue kissed her
Yeah.
in the view of several senior citizens at the post office.
And then he whispered in her ear, "It's only you. It's only you."
This isn't one of my books, you know. No one's going to try to kill me. Anne hugged him back. But what if someone tries to kill me? She asked.
Good question.
Even though Marvin had told his sister.
Ants are always dying in your books.
Yeah. Even though Marvin had told his sister there was nothing to do, he called his agent, Ben Fryer, as soon as he got home. He had met Ben 3 years earlier through the mail, and now they talked regularly on the phone. He could hardly remember what age he had told Ben he was, 28 or 29. He had plucked Ben's name, along with 4 others, out of Writer's Market.
An esteemed publication.
Sure. He knew it would be difficult to get an agent without a published book under his
He
belt.
plucked his name out of Schmieder Schmeigest.
But he also knew it would be next to impossible to get a book published without an agent. He had already submitted his work to dozens of publishers and got nothing but form letters in response. Thanks, but no thanks. It was one of those catch-22s that made launching
Another
a
book?
career as a world-famous writer so terribly difficult. Marvin had sent each of the agents a couple of sample chapters and an outline of a novel called The Wishing Web, a story about an apprentice sorcerer who visits a high school and causes all kinds of wicked fun.
I would read that
I
shit.
would read the shit out of that.
Yeah. Me
we,
too.
Do we know for sure that The Wishing Web isn't a Christopher Pike book?
I'll
We
look
just
it up.
haven't read. I want to read that.
The Wishing Web. What if I looked up The Wishing Web? It was like a novel by Max Slate.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man.
That would be the BGL
Pike
jackpot.
Ghost wrote a
Yes.
bunch of Max Slate novels as Max Slate.
He wanted to see the entire manuscript, which Marvin promptly mailed overnight express to him. Marvin could remember waiting hysterically for Ben's response, and Ben did keep him waiting, a big 10 weeks. But Ben's letter, when it
mail.
came, was enthusiastic. He believed he could place the manuscript, he said, while suggesting a few minor changes in the story structure and the character descriptions, which Marvin was happy to make.
The Wishing Web is not a book.
That's really depressing.
Then came a second period of waiting while most of the New York publishing houses proceeded to bounce the book. The editors of teen fiction didn't like it, they said, because it
If
was
I was
too...
reading this on my own, just FYI, I would skip this whole page. I can already tell we can skip this whole page. This
Yeah.
is nothing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
nothing.
Because
It's
we.
nothing.
Yeah.
He's
Because we're.
already talked.
He's filling words. It's a
Yeah.
word count book.
Yeah.
Well, also,
He's
like, we're-
already talked so long about how hard it is to get published, but he's a 17-year-old millionaire.
Yeah.
Writer.
We're into the
Even in
fourth
the
chapter,
90s,
and
he
they're
could
like.
probably do something with money to publish his own books. So
Yeah.
But children don't know about publishing.
I love
and
this-
this book is for children.
I love this device of like 4 chapters in after a bunch of crazy shits happens. Like, so anyway,
Here's
here's
how
how I
publishing
got published.
didn't a person just ask you to find their like brother's murderer?
Dead boyfriend's murder. Yeah.
boyfriend's murderer? Yeah.
Yeah,
like-
no, this is more
You think
important.
someone's spying on you, but yeah, you tell me about how many periods of waiting there are.
Yeah, I need to learn more about Harry Fry.
How much do
what's
you
his
talk
name?
to your agent
Ben
on the
Fryer.
Harry
phone?
Fryer. Ben Fryer. Harry Fry.
The editors of teen fiction didn't like it, they said, because it was too sophisticated. That very word was in 5 rejection slips.
Wait,
Just let it
guys,
go. We
guys,
have to let it
wait,
go. We'll never
no,
finish this
No,
book.
guys, I figured it out. This is Christopher Pike's true story.
This
He's
is his
secretly a
origin story.
teenager in the 90s.
No,
Yeah.
not that he's a teenager. It's just this is what happened when he tried to get his first book published.
Published, and it was all
This
They
is
this
said
mess.
I was all too smart and no
Too
one would pay me because I
sophisticated.
was too
But
good.
who's laughing now?
Well, write what you know.
Exactly.
Marvin could not believe it, nor
Incest.
could Ben. In essence, the editors were saying that teenagers were not smart enough to read an intelligent plot. And it was true that, as far as complexity was concerned, his book was more akin to an adult novel, because he was that good at writing.
This is the most navel-gazy shit I have ever experienced in my life.
But it was Marvin's belief, not Christopher's, that most teen books were written down to kids, and that was why most of his friends had gone from reading young adult stuff to adult stuff. But then Ben had lunch with Pat, who I don't remember existing, and she
It was
reviewed the book
someone.
and made an offer on it because she enjoyed reading it.
Okay,
the
to be
Wishing
fair,
Web.
like reading Fear Street than this. The one of them is definitely talking down to teenagers.
Yeah.
And one of them is punching above its weight.
The Wishing Web went on to be a huge bestseller.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Marvin dialed Ben's number from memory, which is what we used to do.
I
in the
mean,
90s.
that's just how we lived back then.
Yeah.
Ben was on another line, but got rid of his other caller.
Why do we need to hear that part? That sentence is like fucking trash.
It's shoe leather, right?
It's literal trash.
You know what, though?
He's like, Mom, I'll call you back.
I have never read any Stephen King before. I am currently reading a Stephen King book called Fairy Tale, which is from like a couple years ago. There's shit like that in it that I'm like, Stephen King's a writer and he's famous.
Yeah.
Some of this is dumb as shit. And I know, I think that I've at least heard that like some of his stuff is like, why does that need to be in a book?
Yeah.
But you'd think at this point, a book from a few years ago, you'd edit some of that shit
it's not
out.
an
And
older
I'm
book.
sitting there like, this is fucking unbelievable.
Or he's gotten to a point where he doesn't need to edit anything out because he's Stephen King.
Everyone needs to edit something out.
Yeah.
His editors might not even say anything anymore. Yeah.
I think that's,
my God.
Like, why do the work if it's going to sell regardless because his name's on the cover?
I love...
Is that what it is? I was reading
I've read a lot of Stephen King. There is stuff like that in there, but it's more overall more gripping than this.
But the good stuff is so
not
good
like
that it
it's
excuses.
trash, but it's like every now and then, or I don't know, not even
There's
every now
garbage
and then.
sentences,
A lot of the time, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I don't need to know every step that he fucking took.
Now I haven't read. So it's funny because the first Stephen King book you are ever reading is like a really recent Stephen King
that's
book.
really odd that's
And
the first one.
And I only started reading Stephen King like a couple years ago. I guess more than a couple years ago.
I wasn't saying that.
I was.
It is odd, but I have no reason
No, I
for
wasn't
it.
saying that.
I only started reading Stephen King in like my 30s, like
Same.
in recent memory. I started reading Stephen King, and I think It was the first one I read, and I've been reading his older books, like his kind of most famous books. So they're like, for the most part, they're pretty tight and fucking fantastic. The one time that
Is it pretty tight?
some of
It's got that one scene. It's got a scene.
Yes,
It's got that one chapter with the
There's
sex.
stuff in it, like the one.
Everyone
the one
pretends didn't
chapter.
exist.
The main thing I'm thinking of, I read The Stand, which is I think it is his longest book.
Yeah,
think
I have like the new version of it that he came back to.
that's the thing is,
It's long as shit. Yeah.
it's long and there's stuff in it that I'm
Did
like,
he add
this
more to
doesn't-
it?
Oh, wait.
No, it's
basically
unabridged.
the director's cut
Yes.
of The Stand.
I thought you were gonna say he like cut it down, like
No,
Oh, no.
a revisit to tighten it up and make it better.
No.
But Jesus fucking
when
Christ!
The Stand was first released in the 70s, it was shorter, and
I feel
then
like I'm yelling more this episode than ever, and I don't
it-
know why. I'm
it's me.
so riled up.
no, because we're
It's
animated.
it's the power of Pike.
Power of Pike.
Pike power.
His unabridged version came out like, I don't know, like 20 years later, like I think maybe in the 90s, but it was like a long time after The Stand was published. It was like, here's the unabridged version. It's all the shit that my editor told me to take out. And I read it, I was like, yeah, your editor was right. Because like some of this goes on
It's basically for
too
fans.
long.
It's like for
Yes.
fans who have read the book several times and want to see the extra features. You know, not
Yeah,
just
that's a
DVD
good way of putting
terms.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. I would rather read it again and read the original.
I have never read the original, and I
Yeah.
should have as my first time
Yeah.
reading it.
If I
because
ever go back, I will read the original.
I'm an even bigger weirdo. The only Stephen King I have read is the Dark Tower series.
Yeah,
I don't
actually
think that's
haven't
weird.
read
that's that weird.
people love that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love it. So,
But I have not read any other Stephen King. So anyway, Marvin dialed Ben's number from memory. Ben was on another line, but got rid of his other caller. Ben was always on another line. He said he slept with a phone tied to the side of his head. He wanted to know how the book was doing.
Jesus.
Fine, Marvin said without enthusiasm. Ben knew him well. Have you started on it yet? No. You're kidding me, aren't you? Well, I'm deciding Ben has like a classic Hollywood agent voice.
I love it.
Marvin, the book is the single most in-demand book in the history of teen publishing.
He's literally writing Harry Potter.
Right. It's already 4 months late. I am aware of these facts. What's wrong? I don't know who killed Anne McGaffer. You told me you did. I thought I knew, but I don't. I can't start on the book until I do. Have the jealous boyfriend be the murderer. Have the slimy brother. It doesn't matter who did it. It's how you tell it. You cannot tell a bad story. Marvin, just start writing. That's like what Christopher Pike did.
So
oh my God, I love this guy.
I want to make a prediction.
I don't give a shit how your book ends. Just get it to me.
I need words, motherfucker. Just put them in order.
Yeah, I think Ben, I'm sorry, Chris, we'll get to your prediction, but I feel like Christopher Pike-wise, Ben is just like the little voice in his head that's like, you're a star, you're a fucking rock, you can do this shit, just write some shit, it'll be amazing, Christopher.
It doesn't matter what happens, you're you.
You're you.
You're beautiful,
You're gonna
baby.
fucking nail it, Christopher.
The magic was in you all along.
You're making me millions.
But, my prediction, I think Marvin killed the guy that suicided off into the water.
For sure.
Oh, that's his lake trauma.
Yeah, I for sure think that,
Oh, dit.
I will soon. I'll start today. I can do it. I've been late before. I always pull it off. You know that. Ben hesitated.
I'm a teenager.
Right. Ben hesitated.
I'm going to start writing down our predictions, actually.
Good idea.
Nice.
Ben hesitated, perhaps sensing the strain he was under. I'm sure he'll do just fine. He'd lightened his tone. I've got some good news for you. Universal Studios has agreed to let you write the screenplay for The Wishing Well.
I want to watch it.
Marvin felt a wave of pleasure directly to his loins. Hollywood was funny. What a sentence. Filmmakers.
Hollyweird.
Hollywood was funny. Filmmakers were only too happy to buy an author's book, but heaven forbid they let the author write the script for the movie. Marvin believed that was why there were so many bad movies made from great books.
Did Marvin or did Christopher?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, this chapter's not about Marvin.
It's not at all. He had been insisting for months that he write the screenplay. How much are they going to pay me? Marvin asked. A lot. I'm still negotiating with them, but they want you to fly down to meet with them. The director, the producer. This will be within the next month.
I just want to say, I have a question, and it's like, what do Christopher Pike's sisters look like?
That's what we were talking about last.
They're all Hawaiian Tropic
episode.
models.
I'd be happy to meet you in LA. You know I don't even know what you look like, baby. Martin felt uncomfortable. Martin sounds like a more normal name.
Martin is a normal name.
Yeah.
I've never met a Marvin. Oh, wait. Didn't you have an Uncle Marvin?
I had an Uncle Marvin who was 500 years old. Yeah. And he
he was 7 feet tall.
He tripped over my mom's ottoman and sliced his leg open. I was like, classic Marvin.
I wish his name was Mervin.
My great Uncle Marvin looked like Dr. Kevorkian.
He was an imposing figure. I only met him once or twice.
He looked exactly like Dr. Kevorkian.
Imagine that guy, but a teenager.
Just a little bald teenager.
Bald teenager who wants to have sex in hot tubs.
Okay. Marvin felt uncomfortable, as did I. Let's see on that one. Let's see on that one.
You know how they say. Let's see
on that one.
Let's see on
Come on.
that one.
When the series is finished, you'll be able to take a break, he added. What keeps you stuck in that hick town? Is it a woman? There's always a woman, Marvin said evasively.
That's kind of great, though.
Oh, shit, that killed Chris. Chris is gone. Chris disappeared.
I should also start writing down when there's actually a good sentence.
There's always a woman.
There's always
a man. There's always the lioness.
Marvin said evasively, "Hey, Ben, can I ask you a blunt question without offending you?" Shoot, baby! Have you...
Is she like a 1950s ad guy?
Yes.
Shit, baby, tell me anything you want.
We're at the point in the show where I start getting punchy.
Oh, right there. Have you given my real name or address to anybody? No, never. Why do you ask? I'm getting some unusual letters mailed directly to me. They've been postmarked locally. Ben was silent for a minute. I swear to you that if someone has discovered your true identity or whereabouts, it has not been through this office. Even my own secretary doesn't know who you are or where you live. Are these letters threatening? Not exactly, but they make it clear they know who I am and that they know what's going on in my life. You might want to go to the police. No, Marvin said. Then I'd have no privacy. Is it possible that someone has sneaked a peek at your files? It's out of the question. Besides, if the letters have been mailed locally, the leak has got to be on your end. Good point. I apologize for asking.
It's so polite.
Thank you for everything you've done for me, Ben.
Thank you for making me a teenage millionaire.
What the fuck are you doing, Alfie?
You know that Ben, he really took a risk.
All right, I'm going to read this page and the next one.
Yeah.
No problem, Ben said. It's probably some crazy teenager who's followed you to your P.O. box. You know how kids can be at that age. All in the book. I do indeed, Marvin said. They exchanged goodbyes and Marvin glanced at the clock.
I am one.
It was 11:40. Time to pay Shelly Quaid a call.
Ooh.
That sounded threatening.
It did. Chapter 5. Shelly greeted him at the door wearing old blue jeans and a thick, frumpy gray sweater.
Disgusting.
Sending a message.
She looked great anyway.
Disgusting.
It was another one of those cold, late autumn Oregon days, and Marvin was chilled from his dash over on his bike. Why doesn't he just buy a fucking car?
But also, it's like we've established it's cold riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Stop talking
Why
about the
keep-
weather.
Every day
It's
is
just-
cold. We'll just assume that.
It's just to hammer in the point that he's a teenager and he makes bad decisions.
Right.
I'm waiting for a whole chapter just describing how moisture in the ground evaporates into the air, becomes clouds, and then
Yeah.
becomes rain.
It's just about photosynthesis.
No, that was Don't Go Into the Basement
Oh.
Oh,
by
right.
R.L. Stein.
Stay out of the basement,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. I'm drunk, and
Probably.
I don't care.
I call that book Dad Plant.
Dad plant,
Dad
not
plant.
plant dad?
Nope, Dad Plant.
Dad plant. Shelly led him inside to a blazing fire. Her parents were still out of town. He didn't believe, however, that they were going to enjoy a repeat of last night's blissful bubbles. Was it blissful? Because it seemed like a giant bummer.
Yeah, it ended weird, man.
Yep. Shelly seemed to be in a serious mood. She curled up on the couch, and he sat on a nearby chair. A pile of official-looking papers sat on the coffee table. Shelly nodded to them. "Those are for you," she said. "What are they?"
What?
"The police report on Harry's suicide. The autopsy report is attached."
Who wants
It's fine.
to
He'll
have
ask the
sex?
question we're all thinking.
All right.
Let's get naked.
All right. How did you manage to get a hold of those? Harry's mother requested them a while ago when I told her I believed her son had been murdered.
She's just
Harry-
telling everybody.
I'm done with Sam Elliott. He's now a private eye. Did Harry's mother believe you when you told her?
I feel like 90% of the time we're like, the main character is a private eye.
I mean,
Well, they're
it
always
works.
discovering mysteries.
They're always
and
mystery stuff, right?
Solving
Yeah.
problems.
It does work a lot.
Solving crimes.
Did Harry's mother believe you when you told her? Shelley shook her head. No. Have you read the reports? Yes, closely. Is there anything in the reports that leads you to believe he was murdered? He asked. She sighed. Ah. Not really. That's why I want you to study them. I'm no smarter than you are. I'm certainly no smarter than the police. I want to be blunt right from the beginning, Shelley, so that you don't get any false hopes.
You know how a 17-year-old talks.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be able to help you with this matter. I'm a kid.
I got
Shelley
a test to
looked at him.
study for.
Shelley looked at him. How well did you know Harry? Well enough to know he was strong competition.
Jesus fuck.
See, it's better when it's sporadic.
It's way better when it's just his inner monologue.
Harry Pastor had been a star athlete for Sessa High, both an outstanding receiver on the football team and an excellent guard on the basketball team. Like Triad,
Hell yeah.
a close friend of his, he had been a well-built young man and handsome. But unlike Triad,
Hell yeah.
Harry had a brain, too. Marvin had shared a chemistry class with him, and Harry had done at least as well as he had, if not better. Because Marvin's so smart. Marvin liked him until Harry tried to steal Shelly away from him. That was a joke. Just a line Marvin used to feed himself when he was feeling jealous. Actually, Harry had been going out with Shelly several months before Marvin had managed to stake a claim to her.
What?
I do not like this language.
Oh, patriarchy.
So she dated Harry, then Marvin, then Harry, then Marvin again.
Yeah,
I'm
after
telling
Harry
you,
killed himself.
she was dating them both. I think she was dating them both at the same time. I think that's what it said last time.
Or she's the mistress of murder.
Yeah, she could. Yeah. Well, she could be a master, and you don't have to change the wording. She can be a master.
Yeah,
Well,
master
I mean,
is
the-
engendered.
Yeah.
The description of the hot tub scene was very specific. He does not know what she's packing down there.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I'm not touching that.
Neither did he.
I'm just saying we
Right.
don't know what
He
she
grabbed
feels.
something.
He grabbed
Yeah.
something.
We don't know
He
what it
wasn't
was.
sure what it was. He's like, "Is this my own?"
We don't know, is what I'm saying, and
my
I
God.
would not put it past Christopher Pike.
Okay,
to
that's
have a sleepaway camp twist.
that is
I'm writing that
That's a
prediction down for
wild
Chris.
theory, but
that's wild, but also realm of possibility.
it's the '90s. That's happening. That happened. It was a popular trope. Sadly.
Yeah, what was fucking not
Crying
Ace
Game?
Ventura.
Crying Game, thank you,
Ace
yes.
Ventura is a parody of Crying
a crying game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The fact that Shelly had agreed to go out with him while she was seeing Harry had led Marvin to believe her relationship with Harry couldn't have been that deep. He had changed his mind, of course, when Harry had died and Shelly became so despondent.
Wait, I need to process that again.
So basically, he was like, she didn't give a shit. Oh, wait, she actually cares? Yeah, it was like, that's pretty much what
Shelly
that
agreed to
said.
go out with him while she was seeing Harry. Oh, okay. So she agreed to go out with Marvin while she was dating Harry.
I mean, the first reaction should be, oh, wait, maybe Shelly's a piece of shit.
Or no,
Or
she just
maybe
likes to
they're
have
just
fun.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
She likes to get it in. It's fine.
Don't slut shame Shelly.
Yeah, no
No,
slut
I'm-
shaming.
I'm not slut-shaming. I'm anti-cheating.
But she
That's
seemed
true.
pretty open about it.
Yeah,
Well,
it seems
we
like
don't know
they.
if Harry was, but
Oh yeah. Harry had been an unusually quiet young man for a popular athlete. Often Marvin noticed him staring off into the distance during class. Marvin had assumed he was daydreaming about Shelly, but realized after Harry's suicide that his thoughts must have been of a much darker nature.
What?
Okay. So he was staring at Harry
Yes, yeah.
and assuming what he was thinking about. Is the twist Marvin is gay for Harry? Is that what, like, maybe or something like that? That's fine.
I think
We already
it's
established Marvin's not gay specifically
Oh,
in
that's
the
right.
last.
The bubbles.
Yeah,
the bubbles were too
chapter.
feminine for him.
I have to pee, but I don't want to miss any of it.
That's fine. We'll vamp. Go
You can pee fast.
Go ahead. I'll stop reading. Do you want me to stop?
I just think it's funny that a writer, like a creative young man, sees another young man staring off into space and
Yeah.
thinks he must be thinking about fucking Shelly. There's no other thoughts that could ever cross your mind.
Yeah.
Certainly nothing darker, deeper, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, when I stare at another man, I think he's either thinking about sex or murder.
Yeah. Those are
it.
the only two things.
That
That's it.
actually does sound kind of realistic.
It's probably accurate. Though.
Or in these days, it's like Roman Empire. Could be that.
Yeah.
Sex, murder, Roman Empire, or how many Instagram followers he has.
Yeah.
Yeah. His influencer clout.
God, is someone writing books like this now? If there was shit like
I don't
this,
know.
but
I'm
then
sure
it was
there
about
is.
Instagram influencers, it would be
Oh,
kind of
man.
amazing.
I think Christopher Pike still writes.
Does he?
I think so.
We should read his newest book
Oh
next,
my
whatever the
God.
newest one is.
I'm gonna look
It's
it up.
just the same book with the
I
names
just can't
changed.
imagine this fucking boomer writing
I
about
think-
Instagram
no.
followers. but
Harry
that makes it sound better.
Marvin didn't like Harry because Harry had 5,000 TikTok followers and Marvin only had 500. Like it's like
Harry went viral and Marvin couldn't figure out the algorithm.
Harry unalived himself.
Even with all of his premium hashtags and great engagement, Harry still seemed to commit suicide.
Oh man,
It's just all about social media. Like, it's just unbearable.
He's just faking it for the content.
So like Christopher Pike's latest books look real Twilighty.
That makes sense.
Like
I'm
vampire
I
related.
told you, my
Literally,
theory isn't about the story. My theory is Christopher Pike is a job man.
Yeah,
He does this for the money. He's not. I mean, I'd wonder to look it up if he does signings or anything. I bet you, not often, because I bet you for him it's just about money.
Sorry, I gasped because I just read what his real name is.
Who, Christopher Pike?
Yeah, you'll never guess.
I thought it was Christopher Pike, so.
His real name
Is
is
it fucking Marvin or
No.
Max
No,
Slade?
no.
Marvin Mac?
Mervyn boob tits.
It's not. it's
Anne.
no. It's Kevin.
Herschel Scheinberg.
It's Kevin Christopher McFadden.
Okay.
I know. It's very anticlimactic.
Kevin?
So
You
this
went from
book-
Kevin to Christopher?
Well, Christopher's his middle name. Kevin Christopher McFadden. And he was like, that'll never sell. Christopher Pike.
That's
You're the guy from Star Trek.
Oh,
what a
God.
letdown.
Well, okay.
All right,
All
that
right,
fully broke my brain. I haven't written a new note in a long time because
fine.
nothing has happened.
Yet Marvin was surprised to learn that Harry had taken the big jump. He had never asked himself if Shelly had had anything to do with Harry taking it. Until now. Shelly continued to watch him across the coffee table, waiting for him to answer her question. He seemed like a nice guy, Marvin said. Did he seem crazy? Marvin paused. No. You hesitate. Why? Marvin spoke carefully. He was introspective. So what? A lot of people are. You're introspective. Marvin was curious that she saw him that way, but it wasn't the time to pursue the point. It's my understanding that people who commit suicide often lapse into long, deep silences, especially just before they do away with themselves.
Do they?
What?
Is that a thing?
What?
Okay.
What?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Hold on,
I
keep
don't-
reading this. Oh wait, I ruined everything. This is poetry.
People in love do that as well, Shelley responded, and there was a note of irritation in her voice.
Neither of those things are true.
Yeah, it's not.
Christopher Pike's, sorry, I was just looking
No,
at his
tell me
Wikipedia.
everything you learned.
I think his last book was 2015, which
Oh, that was so long ago.
it was a while ago, but still pretty recently.
That was 9 years ago.
It's called Strange Girl.
Ooh.
I know.
There you
All
go.
right, I'm interested.
That was his last young adult book. I think that was the last book he had that he's published. But he's also published some vampire books called Thirst number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Thirst number 6 is Thirst number 6 and 7 are TBA. So I guess he's
Hell
like
yeah.
George R. Martining the Thirst series.
Books. He's in a fucking writer's block like Marvin.
Oh no, he's waiting for the power to come in
Yeah.
and tell him who's thirsty.
He forecast his own doom.
He also writes adult fiction,
What
which
does that mean?
What?
I'm telling you, this guy is like Chat GPT before it existed, man. He's just shitting this stuff out at max speed.
I have to imagine his adult fiction is the same as this, except it's just like, and then his hard cock found
I had a
its
joke
way to her
about Stephen King from
thigh.
earlier
I don't know.
about the book
Thigh.
Becca's reading, and it's just like, and I bet he typed it up in like 2 fucking weeks.
Yeah, probably. I was not
Marvin
paying
took a
attention
deep
to
breath
something.
as your
Marvin took a
first-
deep breath. Marvin took a deep breath. He was not enjoying the conversation. He was beginning to believe Shelley needed professional help to get over her fixation. Was Harry in love with you? He asked. Shelley looked at the fire, the orange glow warm on the side of her beautiful face. I suppose, she said softly. Did you do anything to hurt him just before he died? That's what it says. The question seemed to amuse her, but in a The question seemed to amuse her, but in a sad way, you know.
The question seemed to sexually arouse her, but in a non-sexually arousing way.
One of those funny sads.
I went out with you. Marvin started to stand. Shelly? No, wait, she reached out for him. Please, don't leave. I shouldn't have said that. Come, sit beside me. I'm sorry.
What?
He took her hand and let himself be pulled down on the couch beside her. Her fingers were warm, and he had to fight an urge to kiss her. Right now? Really? Are you sure? Right now is the best time for that? And 5 seconds.
It's passionate right now. Like, gotta go for it.
There's a
Juices
fire
are flowing.
The fire is hot.
Yeah, it's the fire in my belly. And 5 seconds ago, he had been ready to leave. I accept your apology, Marvin said.
That's the most accurate teenage writing I've ever heard. It's
That's true,
like,
yeah.
oh no, I've forgotten everything we were just saying. You might fuck me.
I accept your apology, Marvin said. But what do you want me to do? I don't know how thoroughly the police investigated, but I assume they did a good job. They are the police, after all. What are we
infallible.
not? What kind of society are we, if not for our law enforcement?
Blue lives matter.
Blue lives matter. Opposite of ACAB. That's my point. They didn't. They found Harry floating face down in the lake, couldn't find a murder weapon or a murder suspect nearby, and closed the book on the case.
I said, do you want to make out?
Marvin tried a different tack. Oh, and he put his arm around her. Yawning. You said last night you didn't know who killed him. Do you have any suspects? Marvin has turned into a stone cold dick.
Yeah. No. Do you have any possible motive, he asked. No. So you're basically saying that Harry must have been murdered because you know that he wouldn't have killed himself. Yes. That doesn't give us a lot to go on. Shelley reached down and picked up the reports. That's why I want you to study these. Haven't we been talking about this for 100 years?
Yes.
She handed him the papers. You can talk to Harry's mother if you'd like. Harry's father left them when he was a little kid. He had only one parent. I told her you might be calling. Marvin wished he'd never gotten involved. I'll study the reports.
This is way too much effort to go through for 6.
Right? She's not gonna fuck you. Just give up. I'll study the reports. That's all I can promise at this point. If I come up with anything, I'll let you know. When? I don't know when. Maybe never.
Isn't he rich? Can't he get other women?
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here?
He's rich, but still a child. And as we all know, historically, children are dumb.
Yes. I mean, when am I going to see you again? She leaned over and kissed him on the cheek. I want to see you again soon. When he didn't respond right away, she sat back, worried. What are you thinking? Nothing. Tell me. I was wondering what really matters to you. I have nothing to compare the dialogue in this book to,
maybe
because
she
it's
is
the worst
nuts,
dialogue
man.
I've ever experienced.
But maybe she is crazy because she's like, I'm wondering, you know what I mean? She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
You're
What do you
asking me to
mean?
find a murderer.
It feels like she's honeypotting him into solving it.
Yes.
But then the only way that would make sense is if she's the one that knows that he's the the murder mystery writer. But even still, that doesn't mean he knows shit about fucking real life crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
haven't
wouldn't
revealed
go to
she
Stephen
knows.
King
just
and be
children.
like, my ex-boyfriend killed himself. Can you solve it?
Yeah, but that does sound like a really good movie that I would watch.
Starring Stephen King as himself.
Well, that's like the Sandra Bullock movie, kind of.
Oh, yeah.
The Lost
yeah.
City. That was really
yeah.
good.
It would be like a 2-minute movie, because it would be like someone going to Stephen King with a case, and he'd just go, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I was wondering what really matters to you. She was cautious. What do you mean? He studied her closely. Usually a pleasant pastime, but he didn't see anything he didn't like, and that troubled him even more. Because because she was asking him for the ridiculous, and he was going to do it simply because she asked.
That wasn't the best way to start a relationship. Nothing.
Yep, it's bad and dumb.
I don't think it is one, Marvin.
No.
Marvin. What? She snuggled closer. I really care about you. And I know that what I'm asking is a little weird. I don't have any ulterior motives. It's just that I can't ask anybody else for help. No one who's got your brains. Do you understand? I suppose, he said. You didn't answer my question. When can we go out again? He shrugged. I'm not that busy. Whenever you want. How about Monday night? How about tonight? He asked. No good. I'm busy. Monday would be fine.
Riveting!
Want to go to Pella
Hold on to
again?
your seats. Don't
This
fall
is some
off.
Sorkin-esque dialogue.
Yeah.
Want to go to Pella again? She asked. He smiled. Maybe he was overreacting to her interest in Harry. He should just enjoy himself. Enjoy her. On my bike? He asked. She nodded. We can stop at the bridge again. You know how those whitewater rapids get me all hot and bothered? Somehow, the reference disturbed him, but he didn't know why.
Oh my God.
As a mystery writer.
He is so dumb.
He's
You won't mind the cold? He asked. She let go of him and stared once more into the fire. As if she was way too into fire.
She loves fire.
Jesus.
I
Her
got it. She's a
sorrow.
pyromaniac.
She loves fire and she loves rapids.
Her sorrow was never that far away. No, she said. I like the cold.
Ba, ba, ba,
Ba,
ba, ba. That seems like a good spot to end it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Great stuff.
3 to
It's
5.
something else.
Mostly nothing happened. Less happened in chapters 3 to 5 than chapters 1 and 2.
A lot happened in chapter 3, and then nothing for 2
Yeah.
chapters.
I mean, I got to learn about the post office and how
Yeah.
agents work. It's a lot of, let's say this,
The publishing
Pike puts
business.
useful information for real world artists.
Yeah.
Do you think he wrote chapter 3 and then he was like, oh no, I revealed too much. Better stretch it out.
They'll find out who I am. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot about Christopher Pike. As I always feel when we read these books.
The last note I wrote
Yeah.
was nothing happens for so long.
Oh, very accurate. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
A lot of great sentences that could just be excised.
Yeah.
We forgot to talk about this at the top of the episode, but Bobby, you're saying you don't really have like a history with these kinds of books, right?
I mean, I read Goosebumps when I was a kid and stuff, but I didn't read tons of these. I didn't read like the Babysitter's Club or I
Okay.
don't know what are the big ones.
Goosebumps is a big one. I mean, like the ones we've done Goosebumps, Babysitter's Club,
Sweet Valley High.
Sweet Valley High.
Animorphs.
Isn't
Yeah.
there like the Boxcar Kids or something?
Oh,
I forgot
I
about
used to read
those.
I read
those.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would those
yeah,
be
I remember
good?
That.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked them when I
don't-
was a kid, but haven't thought about them in like 30 years, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't think it would be good for this show.
Yeah.
They might
'Cause
actually be
it's
good.
way
Well,
younger.
that's the thing is, yeah,
skewed.
if it's actually good, we don't want to read it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, I mean, just, for
Yeah.
kids might just be boring. but-
I
Yeah.
read a lot of movie adaptation books when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like remember how they used to release it and the cover would be the movie.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely did that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Knowing
didn't
you,
read a lot
that
of these.
makes total sense.
And
Yeah.
and so you've never read any Christopher Pike before.
No, that was my first exposure to Christopher Pike.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I kind of said it during the episode. It feels to me like he's a jobber.
Yeah.
You know, like the guy, he's got to churn out these books. He's making a living. He's making an honest living. I'm not saying he's like a fiend or something.
Yeah.
I just think that, you know, it's obviously kind of just word vomiting out a loose story with bad dialogue for kids. And he was making a profit off of it, and that's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You know, I'm not throwing rocks at the guy, but I think that's probably what
I
happened.
am.
Okay.
Sometimes
I mean,
I'm throwing-
I could be wrong. Maybe he's super passionate. He's like, you know, Neil Breen or something. He thinks he's like, this is like fucking Shakespeare, man. I don't know, maybe.
He does feel like the Neil Breen of 90s YA novelists.
There are
I
times
just get such a vibe of self-insert in everything he's written.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say
but it's also like,
No.
it like R.L. Stein feels like that I'm turning these out for a profit, and M. Martin with the Babysitter's Club. But like Christopher Pike, it's just he's doing so much more, and what he's doing is so fucking wild.
It's crazy
and insane.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you doing this? I don't know. It's a lot more effort.
Yeah.
It's a lot more flavorful.
It's very flavorful.
Maybe but it could have been he was at a point where he was bored. He was like, let me see what I can get away with.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's what it feels like.
I don't care.
Sometimes, like, the last 2 chapters are a good example. Sometimes it's just like, what is this? Like, what are we reading? Like, what's the point of this? The first Christopher Pike book we read was Remember Me, where there was a murder immediately, and then like it was the ghost of the girl who was murdered, like trying to solve her own murder.
And then there was a Columbo.
And there was a Columbo, but there came a point in the book where there was a map of like the apartment during the party where she was murdered, and so often they went back to this like map and who was in what room at what time doing what to like figure out like where, and we were like, are we supposed to remember this? Like
it felt like it was for the time, because it felt like one of those old-timey like point and click mystery computer games of like, he went to the bathroom then and she went to the bathroom
like, are you
30
paying attention?
minutes later. Write a grid down and keep all this information. You'll figure it out.
That's what made it very Columbo for me, because the detective just kept asking, like, oh, so you were in the kitchen at that time, huh?
But so, sometimes it's like...
And so-and-so was on the balcony?
It's incredibly repetitive, and, like, you're just like, oh, you're filling up a word count. This is crazy. But then sometimes you're like, this is some of the craziest shit I've ever read in any book, like, let alone for teenagers.
I would love to see, like, interviews with him.
Me too. Oh my god!
Just to understand, how his mindset is on this, because he very well might be very passionate.
Yeah, I have no idea. I really should do some research.
He thinks talking about a post office is interesting.
I feel like he thinks talking about everything is interesting. I think.
Yeah.
I wanted an interview with him where he's just like, "Look, like there's a word count requirement. Like, what am I gonna do?"
And just like at the end of the interview, he's just like, "Yeah, my sister's hot. All right."
What? She's hot and she's dead.
My mom's also hot. Oh shit. Bob, what do you want to plug for anyone listening to this?
I mean, I guess I'll just plug my podcast, which is Writers Blockbuster's screenwriting podcast. This will be the 7th year we've been doing it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know, right? And I do it with Jimmy George and Jamie Nash, and they actually know what they're talking about. I'm just a guy who have seen a lot of more movies than anybody.
Yeah.
But Jamie actually wrote 2 Save the Cat books, like official Save the Cat books.
Holy shit! Really?
And yeah, he wrote the last 2 Save the Cat books that have been released. And Jimmy is a script consultant for a living, so those guys actually know what they're doing. And I just have seen a lot of movies. I'm the everyman that makes sure that the audience understands what's going on, and
you need that perspective.
Yeah. I keep it so it's not a classroom. I keep it, lively in that way, I think. But yeah, we've been doing it for 7 years. People seem to like it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. I need to take a listen to that because I see it, and I'm really, really, really bad at listening to podcasts. I just listened to what was it, Movie Schmovie. I have not listened to Movie Schmovie in forever, and I know you
big
do.
fan of Movie Schmovie.
Yeah, I love it, but I have I never listen to shit anymore, and I need to make more of an effort too. So yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyone listening, check that out. Listen to the rest of our stuff. We got tons of episodes of this, Below Grade Level, and the Sketchy Show that me, Chris, and John Walker do, and Becca's on it sometimes. And it's funny and it's silly.
And she's great when she does, and she should be on it more.
That's it. Just come back next time and see what happens with Mom, Master of Murder.
Mom.
Thank you, Bob, for being our guest, and thanks for listening. We love you. Bye.
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 Grade Level is a Cactus Radio production. You can contact us at podcast@cactusrodeo.com. Subscribe and follow on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more entertainment and updates.